Buddha was a great teacher. He was not a god, and he never claimed to be. I think he was kind of funny. He made some jokes to his students. He meditated a lot. He was born rich, and then he decided to leave his royal family and become a hermit. And he traveled around, He he cared about the suffering of the people around him, and he thought, maybe I can teach some of these people how to suffer less. And he did that through teaching meditation and teaching how to think and how to be a moral person and how to be nice. Being nice isn't that easy. Sometimes what happens is someone will insult you, and they might have a variety of reasons for insulting you. Maybe they don't even realize they're insulting you. They just think they're telling you something that you need to hear to make you a better person, and so they're telling you something that feels true to them, and if it comes across as an insult to you, and you kind of have to just take it. You can't go around punching people for saying things that you disagree with. And that's just the way life is, So this guy Buddha, he lived 2,500 years ago, and he tried to teach people through his example that you need to contemplate and you need to be still sometimes. And there's been other teachers. There's been a lot of teachers. Some teachers, they teach English, they teach math, they teach cooking. I mean, you can teach any skill, right? But the hardest things to teach are how to live with morals, because it's very easy to claim that you're a good person, claim that you're spiritual and righteous, and then you go do something bad. And so Buddha was one of the first teachers of compassionate living. And he also claimed, or at least this is what they say, that he claimed to remember his past lives and that he had lived many, many lifetimes in different bodies. And every time he learned a little more about living in harmony with those around you, and I don't know if that's true. I have no way of knowing whether that's true, but that's what they say. And so that is the explanation for why he was able to teach these concepts, is because he had gone through so many lifetimes of hardship, suffering, and it formed a consciousness within him that is that of a master or a teacher. And I was born in Canada, and we didn't have, there was nobody was talking about Buddha or his teachings when I was growing up. But I did learn about morality, and I learned that you don't kill things, you don't steal, you don't lie. You don't covet. Don't be jealous. Don't covet other people's things. But I also grew up around a lot of hypocrisy, and I saw that even though people claim to be spiritual and believe in a moral code that has been given to them spiritually, so I saw those same people not following their own moral code. They weren't, so they're being hypocritical. They're living in a way that isn't in line with what they say they're meaning to do. And so at this point in my life, the middle of my life, I have a job. I make enough money to survive, and I have savings from a business that I used to own. And so I don't need that much. I like to do stand-up comedy, and I enjoy giving audiences some creative ideas that I thought of, which I think will make them laugh. And a lot of times, my jokes do make people laugh. Not always, but enough where I think I'm good at it. I can tell that some of my jokes are creating what's the word? Humor. No. Some of the jokes cheer people up. Or it makes them think about something hard that happened to them, and it makes them think, oh, here's Codefucius. That thing also happened to him. I'm not alone. I'm kind of glad that someone's willing to talk about that hard thing that happened to them, because then we can all just move on and not dwell on the trauma and the seriousness of that pain. So that's what I like about comedy. And so when I think about Buddha, I think about a guy that he knew that there was an important reason for him to focus on teaching. He recognized that there's a lot of suffering, people without money, people that are sick, people that are being bullied, and it caused him to become a wandering hermit that meditated hours and hours a day to create a peaceful state of mind, which he could then express to other people that were not in a peaceful state of mind, but were seeking a peaceful state of mind. And he had the ability to explain the method that he used to gain that wisdom. So that's why I like him as a teacher. I've had other teachers. I had 3 meditation teachers. And one of them, I'm pretty sure, was delusional. She thought that she was in direct communication with a ghost. And I'm not one to judge, but that doesn't seem to be the reality of planet Earth, that human beings are able to contact ghosts. I could be wrong, but I ended up moving on from that teacher, and the next teacher I found explained to me that delusions are something that we can get rid of. And so I started to, usually during meditation, but also during the day, I would think about beliefs that I had, like a belief in God that is affecting my life somehow, whether it be ensuring that I'm in the right place at the right time to meet the right person. And so this delusion that was happening, I got rid of it. So I'm no longer suffering under the delusion that another entity that isn't me is controlling things in my life. And it's kind of nice because it means that I'm in control of my actions and my thinking and what happens. And I like that. I would prefer to be in control of it than to have the universe deciding what's going to happen to me, whether I get hit by a car or fall in love. I want to fall in love under my own free will. So anyway, back to my point. Then I had a third teacher, and I think she is the best teacher that I've had because she's a monk, and she also values the teachings of the Buddha. And she's very kind. And the difference between my first, second, and third teachers, meditation teachers, is that the third one is a very kind person. And that's a real tip-off. If you're looking for a teacher, find one that is extremely kind, because, and happy, but kind and happy kind of go together. The trait of being a kind person is it's evidence that they are truly a master of compassion. And a master of compassion can absorb the actions of others and remain loving towards them, no matter what. So even if the other person is having a mental breakdown and threatening you, you're still kind. That's what a master of compassion can do. And so that's where I am right now. I've had these 3 teachers, and one of them's dead. And the second one's going to be dead pretty soon, I bet. He's quite old. And the Buddha has been dead for a very long time. Interesting thing about the Buddha is that he didn't write, which is very interesting. And So all we really know about him is what other people wrote about him, which can be a bit of a problem because things get changed when you got other people writing for you, about you. But we do the best we can with what we've got, and his teachings seem to help people that use them. So that's the evidence that they're worth studying. And one of the main teachings is called the Eightfold Path. The way it works is when you have a thought in your human brain, there's the intention behind the thought. And it's like a waterfall. There's the thought or intention, and the intention is created by the way you think reality is operating, your worldview, your view of the world, of the planet that you're on, and how all the things are operating here, what you think's really going on here. And that worldview shapes the intentions and your thoughts, the intention behind your thoughts. Those thoughts produce your words and your actions, and those actions are what leads to you earning a living or surviving. The way you think and act produces your livelihood. More waterfall. Your livelihood is demonstrated by your effort. How good you are at a job. How good of a farmer are you? Sure, there's lots of farmers. Not all the farmers are good. Some are putting more effort into the way they farm, the way they do their job, the way they live day to day. Even if you're a hermit, you have no job. Maybe you beg for your food. The way you do it still makes a difference. And so if you're begging with kindness and compassion, that's better than begging with desperation and greed. So this is the way your effort impacts society and those around you and the environment that you're in. And then the last two points in Buddha's Eightfold Path, which he said is the path to non-suffering. This is a path that can lead you to a daily existence without suffering, without anxiety, without stress. And the last two are your mindfulness. So the way you're able to walk with mindfulness, sit with mindfulness, speak with mindfulness. And the last one is concentration. Concentration is a trait, a skill. It can be developed. You're not born with strong concentration. You build concentration through your life each day. Every time you write something, every time you meditate, every time you call someone on the phone, are you getting distracted? Are you moving away from the purpose of the phone call? Are you moving away from the purpose, the intention of what you're writing? Or can you maintain concentration on a task until it's complete? So I like the Eightfold Path, and I think it does lead to less suffering. And it's nice to know that there are actual ways to reduce human suffering. Suffering, unfortunately, is a part of this planet and the human life experience. And so, unfortunately, you are going to suffer. And whether you have cancer as a child, or you go through a divorce and bankruptcy at 70 years old, you don't really know when you're going to suffer, but something's going to happen to you in your life, which will be hard. And the job of a compassionate human being is to be kind to yourself while you're suffering. And do not let the suffering take over your mind. As best as you can, you got to see the suffering as a way to become a better consciousness, a more resilient consciousness. So that's all I wanted to say about Buddha, one of my teachers. The inspiration for me acquiring this cloak, robe, housecoat, and yeah, I guess that's it. I don't have any advice. I'm not trying to convince you to study the Buddhist teachings. I think the teachings exist in other forms all over the world. Many teachers describe these concepts in different ways. It's rare to find a teacher that can put them all together into a nice, simple package that's fairly easy to absorb. So, however your spiritual journey goes, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you're able to find the right teachers for you, for what you need to work on. And I will say a prayer. I'm sending this prayer out to the entire universe And the prayer is, may all beings everywhere develop peace of mind.